I often get asked what software I think has a really great UI UX design. So I'm going to give you a rundown of 10 products that I think have exceptional UI and are particularly notable for their elegance, simplicity, and ease of use. If you're a SaaS founder or somebody working in a product team, I think you'll find this video particularly useful, and you'll get many inspiring examples of how to create a wonderful product interface for your SaaS. So first of all, just a few things to note about this rundown. For the most part, I've selected sophisticated interfaces from well-established SaaS companies. Now, we're going to talk about what's great about these interfaces, but also a few tips and tricks about what makes these interfaces provide such a great user experience. So first up, let's take a look at Productboard. Productboard is a software for product managers and product teams to help them take user feedback, manage roadmaps, manage feature prioritization, and do a great job creating products of their own. So let's jump in and take a look at Productboard.
So here we are in Productboard, taking a look at a feature prioritization screen. You can quickly see that the overall look and feel is very light, it feels modern, it's very fresh feeling. And this is achieved by keeping the workspace light in colors. There's a lot of muted colors going on here, cool blues and greys that keep the workspace light and fresh. Even though there's a lot of complex information, the whole screen doesn't feel overwhelming. And I think Productboard have done a great job with maintaining really good use of space. As you navigate across the page, you quickly become aware of just how many interactions are available on each element. It feels like every single element has a intricate overlay, a pop-up, some kind of animation associated with it. And that just shows the complexity in the product, but it also gives you a great feel of the contextual nature of the interactions and the thought and care that's gone into the UI design.
Productboard also do a great job of educating the user throughout the onboarding process. They do this via an onboarding checklist that just presents a detailed journey that helps drive the user toward product adoption. Let's take a look at this at Productboard's Quick Start Guide.
So let's take a look at the Quick Start Guide. This is a really neat design, and I feel that Productboard have created quite a unique onboarding experience in the interface that they present here. They've actually broken it down into the different pricing plans so that during the free trial, the user can trial whichever plan might be the best fit for them. They can actually change that plan and trial that during this period. And then sitting under each plan or each tier, you've actually got some onboarding checklist items which you can interact with, and it will take you through the onboarding for that particular tier. If you want to go back, you can quickly go back to the Quick Start Guide, interact with a different plan, and then explore that one. So it's a pretty holistic experience for the onboarding here. And I just feel that that enables users to get a good sense of which plan is going to be the best fit for them.
Now, before we move on, let's just take a look at Productboard's in-app pricing screen. This is a masterclass on how to design pricing whilst keeping the user inside the software and helping them towards their buying decision.
So here we have such a fantastic example of an in-app pricing screen. We're on the free trial. So over in the left-hand menu here, we've got 14 days left notification and a call to action to buy now. This takes the user to the pricing screen where we have a clearly detailed breakdown of the different tiers and what's associated in each of these pricing tiers. Of course, we've got the monthly or annual billing toggle up there, which gives you a discount. But if the user scrolls down, they just get all of the differentiation between the features in each plan and the usage available to them. So this is such a comprehensive breakdown. We're quite familiar with seeing this type of screen on a SaaS website, but rarely do you see this detail within the product. So this helps the user to stay within the onboarding experience and not leave the product to go back out to look at the website, which can be an issue because it leads users out of the product experience. And we want to keep them in the product during the free trial to build loyalty and to make sure that they interact with as much of the application as they can during this period.
Let's take a look at a popular payments platform within the software industry, Stripe. Stripe has a fresh and vibrant aesthetic on their website, and I think they lead the design trends within the SaaS industry. But what's so great about the user interface? Well, let's jump into Stripe and take a look.
So for a product that's actually very complex, Stripe has quite a minimalistic user interface. You can see that there's plenty of white space and the structural grid is actually really well formed. There are just subtle light grey lines differentiating sections, which shows a lot of information on these different screens and dashboards. There's little use of color. It's mostly grays and blacks with highlights of a purpley blue for charts, data, and trend lines. This actual test account has no data in it, so it's difficult to see that, but these are really simple charts that actually give out a lot of information. The navigation is really well thought out. It's logically grouped together, and there is really nice use of submenus and tabs. So you can see you get a left-aligned submenu, and then you have a really nice, simple tab system for each screen. So you can drill down very easily, and you essentially get 3 layers of navigation without taking up too much space and without presenting it all in one screen in one hectic drop-down. So that's a really neat way to embed functionality deeper into screens and keeping the top level navigation pretty simple for users. The other thing that's nice is the more drop-down menu. There's a lot more functionality and features here, and the use of color is really nice because you have two-tone, vibrant, bright color custom iconography used here that really helps these features jump out of the screen. So on what you would call a very minimalistic UI, these colors really make it fresh and vibrant and help Stripe to draw attention to some of their great features.
Now let's take a look at 2 features I think are worth noting because they demonstrate Stripe's ability to craft a thoughtful user experience. These are invoicing and the developer notes.
So on this invoicing screen, Stripe provide a really great example of how to treat empty states. A lot of times when new users are taking a trial, they have the issue of not having a lot of data in their account. So they come across these empty screens, and the best thing to do is explain the feature and provide a call to action to get started. So here we have the call to action to create your first invoice. So this is just a really nice screen, and you have a bit of an explanation and a walkthrough of adding your customer, putting your items in, a memo for your invoice, and at the same time you have a really nice preview that updates on the fly as the user is creating and preparing to send their first invoice. So I think they do a great job on this. Even though Stripe are predominantly for subscription payments, I think that's a really great feature worth noting. And another thing that I really like is the developer section here. So API keys, webhooks and events, and just a nice dashboard for integrations. I think this is a really neat feature because it's quite common that developers have to integrate Stripe with payment systems for their tools and products. So a good example of a developer account here as well.
The next software we're going to take a look at is SendGrid, a platform for sending email communication at scale. The thing that stands out about SendGrid is the tastefulness of their UI. It has an elegant feeling about it. Let's take a look.
So SendGrid is a really great example of a tasteful UI. Again, here we're seeing a very muted palette, very light, plenty of white space and light grey, cool grey colors to just differentiate sections of the screen that are important. Whilst doing this, there's a light use of borders too. So the interface never feels too heavy, but sections are differentiated sufficiently, and the eye is drawn to different sections. So you have this structure of the page and a grid, which works really well, but with a very, very subtle use of color and borders to actually achieve that effect. The text is a slate gray, which works really well on the background. Again, the hover states are super subtle, so they just darken the text slightly to bring it to the fore a little. What I really like about the way that SendGrid uses their header sections is that they use really nice illustrations that bring color, and they bring a very personal feel to the platform, which is quite relevant based on the functionality being sending out email communications at scale. So you get that personal feel, and you get that high quality touch with these custom illustrations. When SendGrid does use color, it really jumps out. So you can see examples in there, red buttons, which really stand out as calls to action. And you see nice dark tooltips that jump out of the screen to highlight important information. The menu itself has been designed really well because, again, there's subtle use of colors here. It just has a classy and elegant feel. And whilst there is plenty of functionality and screens here, there's a lot going on. SendGrid have managed to embed them in a collapsible, expandable, and collapsible navigation here. So it never feels too busy. And even though with things like stats here, you've got lots of sub menu items, you're not overwhelmed by this menu at any stage. It's just a really, really cool design. More great illustrations, descriptions and explanations for things. So once again, I think SendGrid is a great example of elegant design and light colors and great use of white space.
Next up, let's take a look at Calendly, the appointments scheduling tool. It integrates with Google Calendar, and what I think is so great about Calendly is the simplicity and the utilitarian nature of its interface design. Let's jump into the product and take a look.
So once you're inside Calendly, the first thing you really notice is the layout of the different types of meetings that you have. The grid is perfect for quickly having an overview of all of the different type of meetings you have available to you, and easy access to each of those for grabbing links, for editing settings, and for sharing. So I consider Calendly a really great example of functional and utilitarian design. Everything in the Calendly interface is very functional. Even the use of color is really there to help you differentiate your different types of meetings and make them stand out visually. I think it's designed to complement Google's design and the Google Calendar, since it interacts predominantly with the Google Calendar. And I think it's just really neat that Calendly have kept the interface so simple and the product experience so simple and easy as well. What really jumps out is how functionality is given to you at the time that you need it. Navigation menus are very simple. There's not a lot of items, usually 3 to 5 items in any given menu. And rather than having one major menu for the whole account, which is very common with SaaS, you have smaller menus that relate to specific areas or screens or functionality that you're interacting with. So I think that the design is really functional, and there's limited use of imagery, illustrations, and even icons. And what's really, really stand out about this is the functional utilitarian interface that Calendly have created.
Now, I'd like to just highlight Calendly's meetings settings screen. It's another great example of simple and functional interface design. Whilst there are a lot of settings on this screen, it remains intuitive and easy to use.
So one of the standout screens for Calendly is the meeting settings screen. And just taking a look at that, again, it's strikingly simple. The layout is very minimalistic again, and really you just have rows that work in a kind of accordion style that give you the parameters that you can use to edit the settings for your meetings. This is the first time we're starting to see much use of icons, and it's really just to help draw the eye to the different setting types, really, the different things that you can edit for your meetings. So once again, it's simple, it's super easy to use, and I think Calendly made sure that they maintained a simple product and kept it very functional and easy to use.
Now let's not forget what I consider to be the defining screen for Calendly. It's the one that most users are familiar with and probably responsible for most of Calendly's growth. This is the meetings booking screen.
Now, this review of Calendly's UI wouldn't be complete without taking a look at the iconic booking page. I consider this one of the really standout pieces of SaaS design in the last decade, really. It's really fantastic how easy it is for people to book a meeting, and I just love the way that Calendly syncs your calendar information with that of the host and provides suitable times for you to book. This interface is just brilliant. I really think it's so easy, and one of the things that has really helped this to just take off is the Powered by Calendly label in the top corner. This is such a good example of a viral component that means that the more that meetings links are shared, the more meetings are scheduled, the more people became aware of the Calendly product. And I just wonder how much of their growth could be attributed directly to that viral component within their interface. Just a brilliant piece of design.
And now for one of the darlings of SaaS, Mixpanel. Mixpanel is a product analytics platform which makes it a SaaS that sells to SaaS. Not a bad market once you consider that the SaaS industry is the biggest consumer of software. Let's dive in and take a look at Mixpanel.
Mixpanel has a really beautiful user interface. What they have is a fairly technical product which is rich with data. So they've done a great job of making it feel friendly by using a very bold color and using this color across consistently across the product. So you have a light white and gray interface, but this bold color that's warm and friendly just makes the product feel less intimidating. So that's a great tactic that they've used. The font is also very friendly, and this is typical of modern SaaS. This font that they're using, APOQ Pro, just is a really good example of a sans serif that has a little more broad character spacing and softer curves to give it that friendly feeling. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Google Alphabet font and the styling for that, making tech accessible and friendly, and it also provides a kind of youthful feeling to it as well. So that's clever how they've done that. What really what I notice when I look at this screen is that because we're dealing with data representation, Mixpanel have decided to use as much of the real estate in the screen width as possible, and for this reason we have a horizontal menu with sub-menus that flow horizontally along the top of the page, and that gives us the full width of the screen for data representation. The other thing that's particularly stand out for me is that when you're looking at charts, graphs, and data, you want really good controls to change the views and the settings. So the date picker is really clever. You've got these shortcuts to certain periods that might be commonly used or requested, from weeks to days, quarters. That just makes that really quick and easy to use. And then it's really nice how you can just toggle between chart types, and the descriptor is just really cool. So you get a preview. I love the way that they just add these little details to the designs to make it really easy for the user to crunch and their data and look at it in different ways and different formats, which is essentially one of the key functionalities within Mixpanel.
In order to provide product analytics, Mixpanel requires a complex integration. Let's take a look at how they design this process.
Now, a common challenge for SaaS that has to show data or connect with other platforms is the integration process. And that's one of the points that can provide the most friction in the onboarding or setup journey. So, right when you sign up for the product, Mixpanel present you with this screen to get started, and it's immediately showing you the options for implementation to integrate your platform. I think it does this in a really great way by showing you common platforms or languages that you can integrate with. There's really detailed notes on how to do this and options to just get that user through that difficult journey and into their first product experience where they're actually getting value for the platform.
Okay, so that's it for part one. What did you think about these 5 interface designs that we chose? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below. Join us in part 2, where we're going to talk about another 5 killer UI designs. If you're interested in an exceptional UI for your software, then please reach out to us at useractive.io. You can book a call with me in the link via the description of this video, where we'll spend 15 minutes and I'll be happy to provide advice. I'll give you a steer on your project, and we can also see if we're a good fit to help you improve your product, get more users, and grow.